I'm currently standing in the pile, which, as you saw, isn't much of a pile anymore. It's just 2 items now. Meth pump is mounted right where it's supposed to go. JP3 mount allows the meth pump and the fuel filter to be mounted in 2 very accessible and reasonable locations, because where else would it go? While he's working on that, I'm going to get the coil harness. Ooh, there it is. I'm going to get the coil harness routed. I always put them under here because there's no reason for them to snake through the engine bay and do all the weird stuff that they do. So the coils are going to mount in the normal cruise control spot. The harness is going to go through here, plug, and then it's going to run the same path here and boom, go to the fuse box because it needs its power source. Then we have the autometer boost gauge that needs to go in. I just set this in the car so it's not over there anymore. So we're going to power through the coils, get these mounted, get them wired in, get that stage completed. Mid-season update. Meth kit is being put in. It's mostly done. The filter is going to live right here. It's going to live nice, beautiful life right under there, perfectly accessible to be serviced, so on and so forth. The stuff underneath is fairly standard. I'll show you though. Wiring and other stuff for the tank is running through here, and it all makes sense under there so that it's actually serviceable. The reservoir he bought won't be here in time, so we're just gonna wing it. He's working on the controller now. He's got it tucked up in there, running the wires, doing all that fun stuff. Coils are done with 1 wire exception. That's the main power wire, so I just have to run it to the fuse box. But they're mounted. Plug wires are made. We make all our plug wires because we want them to go a certain way. See if you can see them. Yeah, it's kind of hard to show. But plug wires are all made. And then the harness is in there, which you can't see it, but I promise you it's in there. Been working up here, tightening the fuel lines, which is crazy difficult, but it's done. Fuel lines are tight, all 4 injectors are plugged in, harness is for the most part out of the way. I need to put the solenoid rack back on, tighten down the grounds, and here is our coil grounds. They're actually separated between leading and trailing 1 and leading and trailing 2, so that they can both land on their respective rotor housings, which is an important feature that a lot of harnesses don't offer or care about, but I guess that's fine. I don't know. So that wiring is done. Everything up here is done. Now is the reassembly part of putting this all back together, throwing the vacuum lines back on, which is going to be a little tricky because the ports are obviously covered now, but there is just enough space in between where I'm pretty sure the vacuum line will bend enough. Also, he's been inside messing with this boost gauge and the meth controller.
Yeah, it's only 4 more wires.
This is what's left of the solenoid rack, and this is really all you need. So solenoids sit here on the end, and then of course that mounts to where it mounts to, and this just, it holds the things. This could be a lot smaller if you wanted to get creative. There's no reason to do that. You just use what Mazda provided, and you will be just fine, which is what I'm doing. So that'll sit right there just like that. Solenoids go on it, they plug in, run the vacuum lines. Good and good. Holding perfect. Maybe it's just me or maybe it's in general, but the radium one came preset. I made that little white line because I mentioned before the gauge is kind of hard to read. So I made that line there where it's supposed to be. Fuel pressure holding perfect, right where it's supposed to be. Now, just a tip. After you build your fuel system and you pressure test it, because you're not going to pressure test it while it's running, because that's crazy, you're going to pump your fuel pressure up to your target fuel pressure. For example, 1 to 1. So base pressure, average 44, 43 psi. 1 psi for every pound of boost. We're running 14, but we're going to call it 17 just to give it some leeway. So 43 plus 17, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's 60. So what we're going to do is we're going to crank our base pressure up to 60 and make sure it holds, because that's really what it matters when it matters. Just because it holds at your base pressure, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hold at your peak pressure. You have to test these things in a controlled environment. Catch it now while everything is apart, before you catch it when doing pull, which is not at all ideal. So we're at 4.2 bar right now, and it's holding pressure perfectly. So it's 62, about 64 psi. And it's holding pressure perfectly, no leaks, no nothing. So now we know our fuel system was built correctly, which, duh. So now we're gonna set our pressure back down to where we want our base pressure to be. Day 3, the end of day 3. And again, right on target. What do we say we were gonna do? We were gonna finish the fueling, we were gonna finish the meth, and I think there was a third thing. Boost gauge and boost gauge. All 3 things hit it. Boom, right on time too, because it is midnight. Huh?
There's more too. Coil packs.
Coils.
Coil harness.
Yep, coil harness, that's done too. Forgot about that. In fact, that was primarily what I was working on today, and I completely forgot. All right, this is his boost gauge. He really wanted this boost gauge. What's crazy about it is the pod is so shallow, it didn't allow for the light bulb to be installed in the gauge. So at night, this thing is gonna be dark. Shame on Autometer for making a gauge that uses a light bulb the size of a regular house lamp. Where is it? Look at that. That's silly. Silly. There's no reason for it to be this big. And it's wired independently. Meth pump is mounted right there beautifully with the JP3 mount. It's lovely. Of course, absolutely, of course. The top of the motor is as neat as it possibly can be. Just take my word for it. It looks like a bundle of hell, because it is, but it's actually a lot neater than you would think. And also, confirmed, with the radium rails, you can still have a fully functional sequential system. There's actually a lot more space back here to run these 3 lines for the pass-through than it looks. Quite a bit more space, actually. But worst case scenario, if you know it didn't work, you could always just go around the back. Those ports are just pass-throughs anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you use them or not. It's just a lot cleaner to do it that way. Let's see. Part of the coil harness here, the 2 grounds for rotor 1 and rotor 2, right where they're supposed to be. Solenoids are right where they're supposed to be. Vacuum lines are pre-gamed. Harness is pre-gamed. Coils are mounted wonderfully, nice and clean. Plug wires are ran, organized, separated beautifully. The harness, of course, is disappeared. All on the inside of the thing there. Of course, we did that yesterday. So we're basically there. All day tomorrow is just straight reassembly. The last big thing that we have to do is wire in the RX8 fans, which is going to take some time. It's a little bit tedious of a job to do. Top of the motor gets to go back together. Upper intake manifold's going to go on. Intakes are going in. Elbows going on. All that kind of stuff. And after looking at the other elbow that he got, we can't use that with the meth because of the divider on the inside. It completely blocks off the 2 ports. So spraying meth in that would only send it to 1 rotor, which is dumb. We're not going to do that. So we're going to put it on for testing, of course, get our back-to-backs, and then the Greddy elbow is the one that's going to stay on here because, of course, it's open. There's no divider inside of it. And one last look at our pile. If you flash back to 72 hours ago, there was a whole project worth of stuff here. And this is the last piece, these struts, which still up. Maybe with the new ones, as soon as he pops the trunk, it'll and like shoot up. All right, we're gonna go home. We're gonna recharge. We're gonna come back tomorrow. We're gonna have another great day. Put everything back together. Interior is gonna be back because it is a absolute disaster right now, as it should be, because we were in here working. Well, Josue was in here working anyway. So the interior is going to go back together. We're going to clean it up, vacuum and wipe it down and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be beautiful again. Engine bay is going to go back together. It's going to be beautiful again too. Wheels and all the stuff. There's a whole pile of just things over here on the floor. All that stuff is going to end up back in the car too. But it was a productive day. See you guys tomorrow for another one.